this is going to be a fish dish, so we're using portavogie clams with bacon and parsley grummel. So clams, these are actually scallops, but in Portavogie, which is a fishing community on the east coast of Northern Ireland, they call them clams. So in honour of that community, which is entrenched in Ulster Scots, we're going to call them clams. I quite like this. We're going to do bacon, and a grummel is a crumb. So a nice crumb with bacon, parsley, breadcrumbs, butter. Very simple. Cook the scallops quite quickly in the pan, in the bacon fat, and that's us. So first thing is to get the bacon fat. So this is a lovely pig cheek bacon. We're going to cook this quite gently just to let it render down. So just straight into a pan. As you can see, there's quite a lot of fat content on the bacon, but we're going to make a virtue of that and use that to cook our scallops, and it'll also flavour our grummel. So grummel doesn't sound like a fantastic word. Well, it does actually, but it's just crumbs. So if you had anything like, you know, if you're making a scone and you rub your flour and your butter together, you make a grummel. And what I'm going to do is make a grummel to just sprinkle over the clams to give them a nice crunch. So we just want to cook this bacon down. It'll take a wee second or two. But when you have something fatty like this as well, you know, like even a good fatty sausage, cook it down on a low heat, a relatively low heat, and it'll just render the fat down gently, rather than if you put it into a really hot pan, it'll just burn the outside, and you won't get this lovely, where you can sort of see that now, that beautiful fat coming out of that. And while I'm waiting for that, I'm just going to cut some parsley. So this is just curly parsley, so it's none of the French or Italian stuff. And normally you would pick the parsley and then chop it up. What I'm going to do is just going to take, I love the stalks. I think the stalks have got loads of flavour. So what I'm going to do is just cut them up really, really finely. So just start and just cut them as fine as you can. Whenever I worked in restaurants in my misspent youth, I used to, when you started working in the kitchen, you had to pick herbs, then you threw out the stalks, and I never understood why you would throw out this bit, because I get this lovely smell now of lovely, nearly citrusy. So, and then just when you get into the leaves as well, just bring them together and cut them up as fine as you can, and just try and go through it once. Try not to start, you know, chopping the herbs. Then you sort of, when you chop herbs too much, they deteriorate, and you get this sort of kind of mucky look. So we want them to be lovely and green, and a beautiful contrast to our lovely white clams. So that's us there. And then just have a wee flick over now with our bacon. Okay. You sort of you can see the bacon now is beautifully crisp. It looks beautifully appetising and smells absolutely delicious. So because it's dry cured, you get that lovely fat out of it now. If you're making soda fires, potato bread, just if you fry them off after you've made them in that's something pretty gorgeous actually. So have a wee look on the other side. So that's ready now. So what I want to do is just take this out of the pan. And I'm going to just put it on the plate here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take I'm going to put a wee bit of bacon fat on the side here, just to cook our scallops in a wee while separately. But in the meanwhile, we've got this fat here. I'm going to take a bit of butter. So just a nice bit of butter into the pan there. And just let that melt nice and gently. Now we're just going to fry our crumbs in this. So just a few wee crumbs on top of that. Look, you can sort of see that taking up that. So what we want to do is just cook these down nice and gently until they kind of toast. Put another couple in there just to, there we go. And already you get a lovely smell of just, you know, brown sort of butter, bit of bacon fat, nice bread, that lovely yeasty smell as well. Now, because that's going to go, the parsley's going to go into this, and what we're going to do is going to take our bacon and just chop this up nice and finely, because that's all going into the nice and fine on this. I get that lovely crispy bacon there. Actually, you can sort of hear it. We'll just go through that a couple of times just to get that nice and fine. So that's crispy, and then we've got our lovely nearly crispy crumb here. I just want to cook this out a wee bit just to sort of dry it off. In a wee second, I'm going to add the parsley to that and cook it out a wee bit. Just it'll soak up a lot of the flavour as well. It's not just kind of cook it a wee bit, but we still have it lovely and green. Right, so I've cranked the heat up a wee bit here. We'll just get this rocking and rolling now. Get that lovely sizzle going of the crumbs. Now, in the meantime, I'm going to take some of the bacon and just put it into this bowl here. And then all of this is eventually going to end up in the bowl. Now, that's starting to cook up a bit, as you can sort of see those lovely crispy crumbs coming through now. I'm going to add some of the parsley. And this will kind of wilt the parsley down a wee bit, and I'll take up some of the lovely flavours. That's a beautiful smell as well, because you've got lovely yeasty crumbs with bacon fat, and then that nice wee bit of lovely, just beautifully fresh parsley. The great thing about the parsley too, the parsley is local, and it was grown locally outside, so we're still sort of mild here at the moment, and absolutely beautiful smell from that. So look, that's our nice crumb there now. So what we'll do is just add that to our bacon. Lovely. Just give it a nice mix around. I'm just going to give my pan a wee wipe down, and then we'll cook our scallops. So for the scallops, essential that your pan is pumping hot. So we're going to let that get really hot again. So really hot. Got the scallops here. So all I want to do with these is just season them with a bit of sea salt. Not too much, because you got that nice saltiness from the bacon. So not too much. It's a nice wee. Have you noticed as well that I've kept the roe on? A lot of chefs take the roe off. I just think it's an awful waste. So I actually quite like it. It's a different texture, but that's a good thing. Now, you can sort of see that really hot now, super hot. So a wee bit of rapeseed oil, which is good because that will get up to a good high temperature. And then we'll get that really hot. And we've still got that nice bacon fat that we're going to incorporate in, but we'll get that, when you put the oil into the pan, get it nice and hot again. So that'll, putting oil into a hot pan will lower the heat. So get it up to speed again. When you're cooking clams, pretend it's a clock face. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So first in will be the first turned. And again, just leave them for a wee second. You want to get them to nice and hot, and you sort of get that lovely corally smell now just of ozone-y fish. It's beautiful. Right, at this stage I'm going to take, remember that wee bit of bacon fat, and I'm just going to put that in round the scallops. You always be very tempted to sort of turn these at this stage. But we want to get a lovely crust on these with the fat and everything. So you can sort of maybe see them cooking up a wee bit. So this is our first one that's going to turn. You sort of see that there. So we'll give that another wee second. At this stage now I'm going to put another wee tiny bit of butter, not an awful lot. And just sort of whiz that around the sides. So you can start to see them shrinking a wee bit, so you know they're ready. So what I'm going to do now is just the first one in is the first one I'm going to turn. Okay, and then the second one. Like that, and then just turn them over like that. So then another wee bit of butter. And with these, with the clams too, you know, the worst thing you can do to these is overcook them. So what I'm going to do now is if you have a wee feel, that one's still a wee bit gelatinous, so we'll leave that a second. Still a wee tiny bit, not too far off it. So I'm going to give that 30 seconds, then I'm going to turn it off and let it rest a wee second. Right, so we're just going to turn that off now. Turn the scallops over a wee bit. Just let them rest, so that's... it. And we'll give them a couple of, maybe another 30 seconds, and then we'll plate this all up. So you get that lovely buttery, bacony smell with the fish, which is absolutely gorgeous. So round Portavogie, where these are from, this is still very much fishing is very much heart of the community. And I was lucky last year to go down and visit some of the fishermen and their wives, and we cooked together, and it was lovely because, you know, I think they would tend to just cook scallops and that's it, or maybe part of a pie, but it's just nice. Best way actually to do these is probably just on a barbecue, and their shells, but it's quite hard to get the shells. So if you look in the pan there, I've let them rest a wee minute, and then some of the nice juices have come out of that. So just when you let it rest, and same with meat, you do it with a steak, so why would you not do it with fish? And you get those nice wee juices sitting there. So what I'll do is just take another wee, not an awful lot, but just another wee splash of butter, and that'll just bring that all together. So we're going to plate up. So we'll take our nice plate here and just scallops around the middle. There. And then just with these lovely juices are in here, because you really don't want to let those, because you got your nice flavour from your bacon and your flavour from your butter there. So if you just take that, just spin that. So it's like a kind of a self-saucing. And then just a wee bit of our bacon and parsley grummel. So just a wee spoon on top of that. See the smell of that when the bacon and the bread, so you get that lovely yeasty hit from the bread, and you've got beautiful brown butter and nice crispy bacon. So that's our dish. So that's Portavogie clams, and we've got a bacon and parsley grummel.